There are things that we experience but never talk about. A shadow moving in a corner, flickering of the lights, a disembodied voice. We invite you to talk with us, share your story, share your evidence, because this isn't just your story, this is our story. This is GhostBox Radio.
And this is GhostBox Radio on AM 950, where every week we talk about the paranormal, ufology, Bigfoot, or just the unusual. My name is Greg Bakun. Thank you for joining me today. First of all, Happy New Year. Wow. Already 2023, and we're already, this is New Year's Day, so we're already past the holidays, basically. And I think it's really funny how we take so much time to get ready for basically a week, and it's over just like that. And I think it's really pretty crazy that, the anticipation, at least for me, it's there's so much to it. There's so many people stressing themselves out, so many people who have they put so much onto this, and next thing you know, it's like January 2nd or January 3rd, and it's pretty crazy about how quickly that passes. I hope everyone had a great holiday. It's like everything kind of has a routine when it comes this time of year, and the routine is that you get yourself ready for holidays, you go to these parties, you take part in different things, you eat, you do everything. And one of the things that I think that a lot of us have as part of the routine is it's okay for me to do the stuff like not exercise, not eat well, just it's all good because January 1st, I'm starting over, I'm going to do new things. And it's all about setting goals. But what about setting the intention? What about actually manifesting what is important here? So I'm really excited because Char Savoie is the owner of Metamorphosis Connections and Charvinity. Through classes and events, Char helps people who want to reach their next stage of enlightenment, whether that's being an empath or discovering any of the gifts that you have. Char is also a psychic medium and has made appearances on other radio shows such as this one. Char has even stepped in to guest host on a number of occasions. She's also a brilliant paranormal investigator, and there's a lot for us to talk about. We're not doing any readings today, but we're talking about starting a positive 2023. Char, welcome to GhostBox Radio.
Hi, Greg. Thanks for having me. It's always fun to be here with you.
Happy New Year.
Yay.
I mean, that's the funny thing about it, right? Is that I do think, obviously a lot of us have this sort of thing where we're just like, kind of like we love to be able to push things off. And one of them is our health, our goals, everything else. And, I really wanted to talk with you today because I know, I've seen it firsthand with you that you are really good at manifesting. And I think the idea of what that is, I think we throw around that a lot. We talk about intentions a lot, but I don't think we actually ever really, at least on this show, we don't really delve into it, at least when I'm on it. When you're guest hosting, that might be something very different. But when, it's like here, it's like, these are words to a lot of people. How do we actually do it, right? So
Right.
I guess the first thing I'm thinking about is let's really just start at ground level here. What is manifesting?
Well, manifesting is kind of like, trying to have something come true. What do you want? Your dreams and wishes. Is the new year, we all make that New Year's resolutions of this is what I'm going to do. These are my goals. This is what I want. This is where I'm going to go. And so, but manifesting is kind of like upping the game. It's like, you got to really, it's a lifestyle. I mean, you have to live it. You can't just say it. You have to actually live it in order for manifesting to happen. So it's just about making things work and having the energy come together and help you get those things that you're looking for.
What kind of frame of mind do you need to be in to even start manifesting?
Well, that's kind of a tricky question because you can manifest anything at any time. So whatever frame of mind you are in is what you're going to manifest. But if you want to manifest something positive, you probably should be in the more high vibrational. Gratitude is the highest of vibrations. So the more gratitude that you're putting out there, the higher vibration you're in, which allows that higher frequency of positive things to come back to you.
And one of the things that I hear so often, and I think a lot of us now who do this sort of work, and that we believe, that we are in control of a lot of things, is one of the things that if something goes wrong for somebody, and they're like, "What else could possibly go wrong?" You're daring the universe, aren't you?
A little bit, yeah. Yep. You're kind of putting out that energy that you're waiting for the next big thing to happen. So you really have to be in the right frame of mind. It's a lot of what you're saying. It kind of goes back to, I don't know what grade, because I might have slept through them, but like ninth grade science, maybe eighth grade, energy is energy. Everything is frequency. Everything's vibration. Everything exists, on some kind of frequency. And that's what makes it a solid, liquid, or a gas, right?
Yep.
And so your energy, your sound, your voice, your thoughts, everything carries a frequency. And so you think about when you're hanging out with different people, when people are really happy and excited, there's a frequency to that. When people are down and low, there's a frequency to that. You're sending out that same energy all the time, even in your head, when you're not even talking to anybody, you're all by yourself, and what you're saying in your head is sending out a conversation to the universe about your frequency and where you're living at. It's hard. I mean, because life is hard. So you got to really be mindful about what it is that you're putting out there and what you want.
And even the idea of your energy, and your energy being like, if you're down, having a down day, how you can affect other people, even if these people are not, for example, like, they don't believe themselves to be empath. They're not doing what you're doing or whatever, but they can still pick up the energy. I mean, I always think that that's really interesting, especially if you're like with a close friend or whatever else, how if you're coming in as a sad sack, and sometimes it's very legitimate. I mean, you just have bad days, but it does ooze off onto other people.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, you think about a lot of people, they work in big companies, and there's that one negative person in the building that the minute they walk in, everybody goes, oh, it's like you already know they're going to bring down the energy. And so it just happens. And whether that person knows that they do it or not, it happens. So it's really, what are you putting in and around you that is creating an environment that's going to have good energy for you to manifest the things that you want.
Yeah, and I mean, it's interesting because it's easy to talk about the negative side of it, at least for me, I guess. But it's the same with people who are super positive. When someone walks into a room anywhere, and suddenly it's just like, this person's always positive. This person's always just nice to be around. They're always smiling. They're always, they're just really good people. And I think it's easy for people to take that for granted, but it is actually very tangible, as well as the negative side to it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It's energy can affect you in so many different ways. And it's the subconscious stuff too. What are you listening to on TV while you're doing something in the house that you're not even watching it, but what is playing? What's the music you're listening to? And, not dogging anything, but it's the energy of what you're filling your space with.
It is. Well, I mean, that is the thing too, and I know that you've dealt with, in certain areas, people who, even just what they're putting on before when they go to sleep on television, they want to have something on television, and they choose a certain type of program that isn't a positive program, and it just seeps in. I mean, there is something there. Obviously, there's reasons why people will take, like, back in the day, learn a language while you sleep, and you put the headphones on and that's playing and stuff. Or even on the other side, there's people who will try to help. Like, I've seen stuff for how to leave your body, and this is sort of the thing where you put it on and you sleep, and it subliminally, or it affects you. It comes in your mind. The same could be said. I mean, what you said about watching something on television and you're not even realizing it.
Right. Absolutely. It's a whole thing. I mean, just outside of manifesting, I mean, you could sit down and want to manifest something, but you are manifesting your whole life, every minute of your life. Whatever you do is manifesting towards something. So all the things that you do throughout your day are setting the stage for what you want, whether it's whatever direction it's going. You are setting the stage.
So don't be an Eeyore, is what you're saying. From Winnie the Pooh, do not be an Eeyore. Do not be, oh, here we go. Of course, this
Right.
is how it works, you know.
And it sounds all woo woo and happy, and it's really hard because life is hard. Let's face it, these last couple of years have been a struggle. I mean, there's multitudes of things that we're dealing with as a society, so it's hard to be like, oh, I'm gonna have a great day and the whole world's burning down around me. It is kind of hard to be that way, but you have to somehow flip the script. You have to flip the script in your head.
It is like truly a sea change, isn't it? I mean, it is an absolute if you are somebody who's just, I mean, and there's nothing wrong about somebody who is just like, oh, here we go again. It's easy to be beaten down for any
Mm-hmm.
number of reasons. I'm certainly not going after anybody for that, but it really is a lot more difficult to kind of, if you haven't done it, to make that change. But speaking from personal experience, if you do make that change, then you're able, it's easy to progress and keep it going, I found, at least.
Absolutely. Even just a small little snippet of changes here and there build up to big things. And you don't have to switch your whole attitude in one day. You just do the little tiny pieces along the way and it adds up.
It really does. And I've found that to be, you just feel healthier. You feel like a healthier person too, which
Hmm.
it's great. Let's do this. Let's take our first break. When we come back, we're going to continue our conversation with psychic medium, paranormal investigator, and owner of Charvinity and Metamorphosis Connection, Char Savoie. We're also going to be talking about how do you do that manifestation. You're listening to GhostBox Radio on AM 950. And welcome back to GhostBox Radio on AM 950. My name is Greg Bakun. Thank you for joining us. Our guest today is psychic medium, paranormal investigator Char Savoie. She is the owner of both Charvinity and Metamorphosis Connections. You can see more of her classes and products she's offering at charvinity.com. And also, please check out Metamorphosis Connections at metamorphosisconnections.com. And we are talking about manifesting a better year for yourself. And I guess because we want to talk in this segment, Char, about how do you actually manifest. But I also want to point out to anybody, I know that a new year is a new beginning. It's a great starting point. But manifestation, setting goals, all that stuff, obviously is not just a let's start January, right? I mean, it's not unreasonable to do multiple resets throughout the year.
Oh, absolutely. And sometimes you have to reset because maybe it's not coming to fruition the way you thought it would. And so you have to shift it a little bit. So, yeah, manifesting is one of those things where you can't just say, "Hey, I want a new car." Well, that's about as good as going to Santa and saying, "Hey, I want a new car." I mean, what's going to happen? Unless you're 12 or, under and you get a new car for Christmas, but you have to actually put the thought into it. So, I always tell people you have to use your intention, your imagination, and your intuition. So, my intention is that I would like to have a new car. My imagination has to come in next. How do I imagine getting that car? Because, someone want to get a new car, never had imagination on how that was going to happen, hit a deer, got a new car. It wasn't really how she wanted to get a new car, but that's
Yeah.
how it happened, right? So the imagination is I'm going to trade in my other car. I'm going to get an upgrade. I'm going to get this model in this color with heated seats, and I'm going to have a GPS built in. Every detail, you have it all, right? And then your intuition is telling you when it's time to do it. Or if all of a sudden, you know what, I think I want to change it from gray to black, whatever it is, you use your intuition to help guide it. And so you have to really put all of it into it. So then maybe you write it down, maybe you print a picture off, however it is that you make a vision board, so to speak, you journal about it, whatever it is, you talk about it daily, you mention it, you change your password to the make and model of the car, whatever it is, you're putting that out there constantly, that this is what you're looking for, this is what you're looking for. And you be mindful about the details. The universe just listens to frequencies. It doesn't know choices. It just knows new car, but you have to tell it what that means, right? And so then, you have to work at it though, because what do they say? 21 days to make a habit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of the same way. You have to put that time frame in there of saying, this is what I want. This is when the universe goes, okay, she's been putting out this frequency a lot. This is probably what she wants. We're going to work towards getting it. If you just say, hey, I'd like to have McDonald's today, and you never go, and the universe is like, well, does she want that or not? Because she talks about it, but she never does anything with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of a random thing to say, but so you have to kind of keep putting it out there and putting it out there and putting it out there and really manifesting it, visualizing it, seeing it, making it tangible as much as you can in front of you. And then so the universe knows that's what you want. The other thing you have to do is you have to speak it into reality. So that is my car. That is the car that I'm getting on February 1st, blah, 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 blah. You have to say it like you already have it. Then the universe knows that you own it and it's going to bring it to you. So whatever it is that you want, you have to speak as if you already own it. Don't say I will, or I want, or it would be nice. It's like, I have, that is, I am, whatever. Like, you already have it.
Here's the thing that I always have a problem with, and it's just in life. And this might come as a surprise to people, but I'm extraordinarily humble, and I feel that asking for stuff that way is kind of it's I always feel like there's people who deserve better, deserve more, and it's just how my upbringing is. And I know your answers, I know what you're going to say, but at the same time, I think it's worth talking about, because I think there might be some other people out there too that are like, it just seems like I'm asking for material things. I'm asking, and I know that's not all that you do when you're manifesting, but do you get what I'm kind of getting at here?
Yeah, and it is hard. It is hard to change that mindset. And I know for a lot of people, it's really hard to change that mindset, because we don't want to, not all of us are egotistical and want everything for ourselves. We want to help everybody else around us. But also at the same time, when you're manifesting and you're in that frame of gratitude and that positivity, the people around you benefit from it as well. So you are helping other people by manifesting the things that you want. And it's okay for you to want things. It's okay. A lot of times people are manifesting, they just want happiness. They want healing. They want simple things that people should have every day. Everybody should be able to be happy. That's a thing. I mean, and if I'm manifesting for me to be happy, people around me are going to be happy because I'm happy. They're going to be happy for me. They're going to be happy because I'm in a good mood. So now I'm not making them in a bad mood because I'm not, non-happy. So, I mean, it does trickle off, and it does help everybody else. And if I'm manifesting something, for my business, well, that trickles down to a whole bunch of people, right? Because I have a bunch of people I work with, and then all of a sudden you're like, hey, I need help. I can come to you and say, hey, Greg, I need help with this. Can you help me? I need somebody else to help me with it. Now, in my manifestation for me to have success in my business has now helped tens of people because of the trickle down effect of me needing help from other people to help do certain things. So it does ripple out to other people. It really does. And so, and it doesn't mean too that, if I'm manifesting something, it doesn't mean that I can't manifest for you if it's something that you really want. I can, but I have to be careful with that, because I have to know exactly what you want. So it's kind of like how I view healing and readings. I don't do it without permission.
Right. Now, to me though, and you're going to help, but you're not going to actually try to manifest, because it's kind of like, if you want something bad enough, like you said earlier, you should put the work in yourself.
Yeah, right? Absolutely. I mean, obviously, if, I'm manifesting for a company, I'm manifesting for kind of an umbrella effect for everybody, so there is that kind of trickle down thing. So that's kind of where I wanted to verify. But like, if I wanted to manifest a new house for you. Well, why would I do that? I don't even know what kind of house you want.
Right.
It's like, I mean, obviously if like you're homeless and I'm manifesting that you find shelter or something, that's, there's like variables in it. So it's best to just manifest for yourself unless it's like an overall encompassing thing.
Yeah, no, I mean that makes sense, and I think too, as we're getting to the end of the segment here, and we can go into the next to talk about it more too, is kind of the idea of if it doesn't work the first time, don't give up.
Absolutely. There's lots of reasons why it might not work out.
And that's the sort of thing. It's like if you're a novice at any kind of manifestation, it doesn't mean you shouldn't be trying to do more and more.
Absolutely. Right.
And I think that's something that I definitely kind of want to talk a little bit more about. And I also really, when we, in the next segment, I also want to talk about too the idea of the work that one will need to put into something like this, because I think it's so easy to not want to put in the work for some reason. And I want to kind of talk about that too a little bit. So let's do this. Let's take another break. When we come back, we're going to continue our conversation with psychic medium, paranormal investigator, and owner of Charvinity and Metamorphosis Connections, Char Savoie. You are listening to GhostBox Radio on AM 950. And speaking of Char and I do a number of events and classes together. You may have heard that we do a paranormal class together, and the next session starts January 16th. This is a 5-week course that really delves into paranormal investigating from an intuitive, practical, and technical level, looking at it through the eyes of using cool equipment, honing your intuitive skills, and we play a lot of evidence that we've picked up through the years. To sign up for classes, go to charvinity.com and go to events and look up Paranormal Dimensions and the Supernatural. Classes run every Monday from 6:30 to 8 p.m. starting January 16th. And we'll talk a little bit more about it in this program. But definitely, there's always been a lot of people who are interested. Go check it out. We have a lot of people now who have taken it and they love it. So I hope that you're able to take it too. And I'm also excited to say that I'm a guest again at this year's Council Room in Bloomington, Minnesota, January 20th through 22nd. Council Room is a Doctor Who convention, which is a love of mine, and I'm going to be there to talk about Doctor Who, British television, and the paranormal. Get tickets now, and I know you're going to have a great time. It is such a fun convention, very different than a lot of others around the area and around the country, and trust me, I've been to many of them. Other stars from the series are going to be there too. Go to council-room.com and get tickets today. And if you miss GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun Live, AM 950 replays these episodes Saturday nights at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, or you can listen anytime by going to Spotify or iTunes. Make this a New Year's resolution that after listening to leave a positive review for my show. I would greatly appreciate it. Our guest today is psychic medium, paranormal investigator Char Savoie. She's the owner of both Charvinity and Metamorphosis Connections. You can see more of her classes and products she's offering at charvinity.com, and check out Metamorphosis Connections at metamorphosisconnections.com. Char and I have been talking about manifestation. I feel like a little bit, Char, that I've been kind of not in the negative side of it, but I feel like I just want to be very clear to people about that you have to put the work into it. And you have to, like you said very clearly, you do have to be very clear to it. And what we were talking about between the segments here was a little bit about how, we a lot of us put effort into a lot of things that isn't going to really help. I mean, we just get overwhelmed by a lot of things, but we refuse to sit down for 5 to 10 minutes to write down a list of what we want out of life, and then maybe revisit that for 5 to 10 minutes every day. Is it as simple as that, or am I oversimplifying it?
It can be. I mean, it can be super simple. You can make it whatever you want. Just know that the more energy and effort you put into it, the more the universe is seeing that energy push for something. So you can sit down every day for 5 minutes and you can write out what it is that you're looking for or wanting to do. And however you do, if you pray, you meditate, journal, whatever, doing some of that can be helpful. Maybe you're manifesting a trip to, let's say, Florida. Go online, buy a shirt from Florida, wear your Florida shirt. Now you're putting energy in that you're doing this. Maybe you find a Florida magnet that you carry in your pocket. I mean, do all the crazy, weird things that you're manifesting to get this thing to happen. So if you're into crystals or whatever it is, use all the fun little tools that help remind you of what it is you're focusing on. And then definitely just the more you do it, the more energy you're putting into it, because then the universe sees how committed you are to wanting this to happen. So it really is up to you how much effort you put into it, but don't be surprised if you don't put a lot of effort into it, if you don't get exactly what you're looking for or as much as you wanted. And the other thing too is sometimes you can manifest something so much that you get it, and then you're like, that's not really what I wanted. It's not for the best. It didn't work out. And that's okay. It happens. Sometimes we want something so much that we don't realize that that might not be what's best for us. And so when it happens, you have to go, okay, you know what? Thank you. I really appreciate that. I got this, but this isn't for me. And that happened to me. I was manifesting something so much last year, and Greg, you're fully aware of what happened. It plopped right in my lap, and it ended up being way too much. And I was like, this was way over my head. It's not the right time. I appreciate that it's here, but it's not for me right now. And I let it go. It's okay. So, just putting in the work, being very specific too. Like I said, you have to be very specific with things. It's okay to be really detailed. If you want a new house, you want a white picket fence. It needs to have a red door. It needs to have, a backyard with a swing set already in it, or whatever it is that, making sure you put all the details into it. Because the more vague you are, the less likely you're going to get exactly what you want as well.
I remember way back in my 20s that I dated a girl who she was pretty clear in what she wanted from someone that she married. She wanted a certain type of house. She wanted horses, like horses. And then she wanted, all this stuff. And at the time, it seems very much like, my gosh, just why can't you just love somebody, blah, blah, blah. Well, now she has like a couple horses. She has what she wants. It's an interesting thing, isn't it? That, it's like, but that's personal preference too, right? It's like,
Right.
It's like, yeah, that doesn't, and that those are great warning signs, I guess, too, of like, well, this isn't maybe not the right person, but they certainly know what they wanted. And that's one thing I always got out of it. It's like someone who knew exactly what they wanted and they got it. Well, there's no harm in that. She's not hurting anyone. She knew what she wanted and she got it. And that's great.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so it really is what if you put it out there, it's going to happen. Maybe she goes through, and I don't know her, so I'm not going to say anything, but maybe she went through a few relationships where it's like, nope, this isn't what I wanted. This person is great, but it's not my end result. It's not where I want to be. And that's okay. She got to where she actually wanted to be, and that's perfect. That's how it's meant to happen. And I mean, honestly, we're only here for so long.
Yeah.
Right? We should be able to live the life that we want to live. I mean, there's going to be ups and downs. You can't take that away. But the bottom line is, at the end of the day, you need to be happy and you need to have the things that you want, and sometimes it's really simple. Sometimes it can be, I just want to have new boots, whatever. It could be something simple and easy, but if you're not putting out the energy that that's what you're working for, then, what do? We do it on lots of scales, but we don't think we deserve any of it. And that's where we have to flip the script a little bit,
So,
I mean, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, we're going to have people who are listening who may have heard this sort of thing, but in a sense, it's a new concept. And they're like, okay, I'm going to give it a shot. Do you think that it's better if you're doing it the first time? Do you want to start a little bit smaller just to kind of get an understanding of what it is? Or is it kind of like, heck, the sky's the limits? I mean, might as well just go where you want to go. What would you recommend for someone doing it the first time?
Oh, that's a great question. I honestly, I would say write everything down, almost like make a bucket list of things that you would like to manifest. Start small, but it doesn't mean that you don't start on everything. Because like if you're manifesting a promotion with a new house and all this other stuff, that might take time. I mean, that's not going to happen overnight. But it doesn't mean that you can't put effort into that and then effort at, a weekend trip to Duluth. You know what I mean? So you start small, focus on those, but never stop focusing on the other stuff either. Just know that it's always there. But the more that you're putting in the gratitude, it does affect all of those things. And so I've been in the habit of every day when I wake up, before I get out of bed, I list 5 things I'm grateful for. And they can be as much as I'm grateful I woke up today.
Sure.
I'm grateful I have a warm blanket, and that's been the one for the last week. I'm grateful I have this, or whatever. And then before I go to sleep at night, I start listing all the things that I was grateful for throughout the day. And it could be simple, like I'm grateful I had cheese to snack on. It might be something as simple as that, but I'm putting out the gratitude. I'm recognizing the blessings throughout the day, as simple as they are. And that's that high frequency that the universe is going. She's in that area of wanting to be receiving things. So if she's manifesting something, we're going to help flow that to her.
I think that is a great point. The balance, right? It's not always about asking, which,
right.
I mean, I guess that's where that actually helps me, where it's just like the deservedness, where it's just, it is like, well, but there is a lot of stuff to be grateful for. I mean, even just the idea of being, like you said, be able to wake up. And if there's some people listening like, well, some days I just wish I didn't wake up, whatever, that's a whole other thing. And that's something
right.
that should be looked at and helped. But the idea, because I mean, it is something like sometimes you could just be like sitting down. It could be McDonald's. I'm a big McDonald's fan, and having the perfect quarter pounder of cheese and just be like, I am so happy right now. Thank you for this. I mean, it sounds silly when you say it, but it's like, why not? Because it brings you pleasure, brings you joy, and it came from somewhere. Be thankful for it.
Well, and I'm grateful I had the $10 to stop and do this. I'm grateful that I didn't have to check my bank account, that I could go through the drive-through. I'm grateful that there was only one person ahead of me. I can get through here quickly. I'm grateful that my car has heat as I'm sitting here. I'm grateful that my favorite song just came on the radio. You could just keep going and going and going. And I tend to try to do this when I'm in traffic and traffic's crazy and people are driving all over the place. I'm like, I am grateful I have a car that's taking me somewhere. I'm grateful I have somewhere to go. I am grateful that I am safe right now. I am grateful that I have heat in my car. I am grateful, I just go down the list. When something doesn't go my way, I try to flip the script. And it's not easy. I'm not saying it's super easy that you can just do it all the time, but the more that you do it, it becomes a habit. And it becomes easier and easier and easier to do it. And as you're doing that, that manifesting becomes easier and easier because you're already in that mindset.
I think that's another great point of being able to, when things do go not the way we want, do go right, and it's going to happen, it's never not going to happen, to be able to do your best to find the positive in it. Because there is times where like something doesn't go right, but at the same time, it's like, well, it could have been this, and I'm thankful it wasn't.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, there's always something to be grateful for. Always. There just is. You can't, and you can be in a mindset, and I'm not going to lie, you can be in a mindset where you feel like there is nothing to be grateful for. And I've been there and I get it, and it's hard, but wherever you are, there's something to be grateful for, as simple and as small as it is as small as like, I have a penny in my pocket.
Yep.
I have socks on my feet, whatever. It can be super simple, but your brain wants to play games with you, and you have to flip that and make it work for you. You have to become the controller of your own game in your head.
Yeah, no, I mean, and that's just it. I mean, and that's I think that's the real positive, because you have to be able to, and to your point too, if you were somebody who was just like everything, I'm grateful for everything, whatever else, and not have those dips, and I'd kind of also be like, what planet are you on? Because I mean, we're just human, and we have low points, and that's how it is.
Right. Absolutely. It's you have to somehow pull yourself out of it. And I wish I could tell you an easy way to do it. I wish I could give you the magic words to do it. It's just, you just have to flip the script in your head.
Absolutely. Why don't we do this? Let's take our last break. When we come back, we're going to finish our conversation with psychic medium, paranormal investigator, and owner of Charvinity and Metamorphosis Connections, Char Savoie. You're listening to GhostBox Radio on AM 950. And join us next week on GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun as we talk Bigfoot and cryptids. I love talking to Robert Robinson about Bigfoot. He knows his stuff, and he's an author, and, he's just a nice guy. There's a lot to talk about. Get your questions ready, as he loves answering them. He loves talking about Bigfoot, and you know what? I would love to hear what your questions are about Bigfoot. Did you see him? Did you, or them actually, and other cryptids that you might have seen and that you don't understand or you want to get his opinion on? We're going to be talking to Robert Robinson next week. It's going to be a great conversation. For our final segment, we return to our guest today, psychic medium, paranormal investigator, Char Savoie. She is the owner of both Charvinity and Metamorphosis Connections. You can see more of her classes and products she's offering at charvinity.com, and check out Metamorphosis Connections at metamorphosisconnections.com. We've been talking about manifestations today. Let's start the new year, 2023, with a great positive start, and let's try to keep that momentum going throughout the year. We can all check in on each other. We can all figure out the momentum, everything else. But the one question that I had, Char, we talk a great deal about manifesting life events. We're talking about manifesting physical things. What about our health? What about our own health? Like, for example, just like if you know that there's something not quite right and you want to get better, is manifesting that, is that good for that?
Absolutely. Manifesting is good for anything, and especially with your health, but with other things too. Sometimes you have to understand is when you manifest something to get better, it might get worse at first because something needs to get looked at and taken care of. So anything that you're manifesting, if something either has to fall away or clear out or whatever that might be in the way from actually getting that manifestation, it might come forward. Like, for example, with the health part of it, I was trying to manifest better health, because I was having a really serious health issues coming up the last couple of years. What it ended up coming up is I had to have a heart surgery, which now has cleared up so many things that I didn't know was caused by that.
Wow.
I didn't know that was my issue, really. And so now I had to go through a heart procedure, and now I'm much better. So now I can do more, which is great. So sometimes you end up having to do things you didn't see coming in order to get to that manifestation. So be open and willing to go with what comes at you as it comes too.
I think that's a really good point to what we were just talking about the last segment, when things don't start going right. That's not how you should say it, but you get my drift. Where it's like, it's so it would have been very easy for you, and maybe you did go into this a little bit when the heart stuff started coming up and being like, this isn't what I asked for. My God, this is worse. But the idea of that's where you got to keep up the positivity. Is it also keeping, and I use this term not in the parochial sense of religion or anything, but it's kind of keeping the faith as well, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yep. Keeping the faith. And I was just kind of going, well, I guess this is what we're doing. This is what we're going to do. I had no idea how much better I would feel after this. I just knew I wasn't feeling good before. And so after, I was like, wow, I didn't realize that particular thing was holding so many other things back. And I would have never even addressed it. I just like, this isn't feeling good,
Could have did it save your life, do you think?
It may have helped prolong my life, because from my reading what was happening could shorten my life. It definitely, and it made other aspects of physical symptoms I was having go away. So my quality of life got much better.
Sure. And I guess it's literally like, trust the process. Trust that there is, if you're putting it out there, if you're wanting to manifest something, that this isn't a blanket, like, oh, like a wand going over and like, you want better health, you got better health. It's kind of like, well, it's almost like if you're working in a house and you need to fix the electricity or plumbing, that sometimes you have to pull out more than you're expecting, do more than you're expecting to be able to fix the overall issue.
Right. It's like watching those shows on HGTV where they flip the house, they go in and they see something, but there's more underneath that needs to get taken care of before the house can become what it's meant to be.
So switching gears a little bit here, you'd be happy to know I looked at the Metamorphosis Connection website today. It looks great.
Thank you.
And how is all that going for you?
It's going really, really well. We have a lot of amazing things coming up this next year that I'm super excited about. Some things are still in the works. We're trying to iron out some details. So I don't want to like jump the gun and say, hey, we're doing this. And then somehow that's the manifesting. I got to roll with the process, right?
Yep.
So I keep working with it. And we're going to have some really amazing things coming out of it. And I'm excited. I'm excited for all the members. So it's great. I love it.
And that is something else about manifestation. I know I'm jumping around a little bit. The impatient side of it, right?
Oh yeah. Patience definitely is something you need for manifesting.
Oh my gosh. I mean, and you've been patient, and I've been watching over the last, whatever, how much time it's been of like being able to see great things happening for you. And Metamorphosis Connection has been really, I mean, what a great situation, and what a great site, and what a great resource that is.
Well, it to me, it was kind of a manifestation of my own, with not really knowing what it was that I wanted, but knowing that I'm always somebody that people come to me and ask me, do you know somebody that does this? I'm always that referral person. I'm always connected to multiple people in multiple realms of the holistic, the paranormal, and metaphysical. So I was like, I just want to be somebody that can help multiples of people get what they need. And I didn't know what that really looked like, and I wasn't really sure. And the next thing I know, the Metamorphosis Connections came along, and it's a platform for holistic and metaphysical practitioners to list themselves. And now I'm like, I know a ton of people that I can refer people to. So it was just kind of like perfect. It just fit right into what I was already doing. So it was almost, the universe co-conspired somehow to bring this to me and allow me to do what I do already, but on a whole nother level.
That is really cool. And it is very helpful. It is very nice to be able to have kind of a look at the landscape of so many talented people who, and through you, I've met so many of the people. Not, there's a lot of people on there, so I haven't met so many, but I've met a number of people who are just absolutely fantastic. And we are doing another set of classes for the paranormal starting January 16th.
We are, and I'm so excited about that. That's been a wonderful class. Oh my gosh.
We've met a lot of people. We've met a lot of good people, and we'll talk a little bit more as we're going to be talking about different things that we're going to be able to teach out from what we've all learned from these classes, but they've gone over very well, haven't they?
Absolutely. I mean, we manifested this whole class. We manifested this vision of what we wanted to be, and it went way beyond our manifestation thoughts of where we wanted this to go. It far exceeded it, and I'm so excited and happy. And the outcome and the students and the investigations we've gone on with them have just been over the top amazing, and I just couldn't be happier with it.
Char Savoie is a talented psychic medium and paranormal investigator who is very much in tune with spirits. She is the owner of Charvinity and Metamorphosis Connections. You can visit Metamorphosis Connections at metamorphosconnections.com, and we're doing an extensive and fun class together on paranormal that we want you to join us for. This round starts January 16th. To sign up for classes, go to charvinity.com and go to events and look up Paranormal Dimensions and the Supernatural. Char, thank you so very much for joining us. We'll be back next week with Robert Robinson.